Welcome to Hearthstone Live Q&A.
On. What up, BlizzCon? Woo! Greetings. This is all like the band space up here. That's why you're all so far away from us. All right, hey, welcome. So I'm Ben Brode, I work on the Hearthstone team, and we have some other exciting people here for you. Young, you want to start?
Yeah, I'm Young Woo. I'm the lead producer on Hearthstone team.
My name is Mike Donay. I'm a game designer on Hearthstone.
I'm Peter Whalen. I'm also a game designer on the Hearthstone team.
So this is, in parts, a live Q&A panel, but we'll do that at the end. First, we have something we need your help for. So we sent out an APB to the team, and we said, hey, everybody, send us your best designs for some cards that you think would be fun in the arena. And we went through the whole process, and we designed these cards. They haven't gone through balancing yet, but we've got 27 cards here for you guys to look at and vote on, 3 per class. And whatever one you choose, we will take it back to the office, fiddle with it a little bit, make sure it actually works, and then put it into the arena. It'll actually go straight into the arena in some future patch that, Young, you're figuring out which patch.
Yeah, we're working out the timing, but you guys will decide the fate of Arena.
All right. So pay close attention. Please make good decisions. All right, so here we go. We're going to start with Hunter. So we'll show some cards. Donay, before we get into it, what do you think makes a card great in the arena?
I think there's a couple different reasons why people like different arena cards. One of them is cards that give you a lot of decisions to make, right? Like a choose one card or a card that requires certain board positioning. So we're going to see some cards like that. Another type of card that people like are cards that create new situations they haven't been in before. So we're going to see some of those where maybe it adds a card to your hand that you wouldn't normally be playing, stuff like that.
Great. Okay, let's see some of the first Hunter card here. It is Reload. Discard your hand, draw 3 cards. Peter, what do you think about this card?
This card's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting when you decide to play it. You know, it's turn 6, and you've got a huge 8-mana minion, but that's the only thing in your hand other than reload. Do you want to play it now and, you know, reload your hand and then get to take advantage of it? I also like the name. Fits pretty well.
Yeah, I like the theme. Like, we've experimented with Hunter in the past where, like, good conditions trigger when your hand is empty. So obviously when you play Reload, you kind of want your hand to be more empty than not when you play this. I like the flavor.
All right, here's the second card. Volley. Add 3 random shot spells to your hand. Donay, what do you think?
I like this because both these cards, because normally we don't give a lot of card draw to Hunter, and these are ways to do it that fits the Hunter theme really well. So I think we'll have some randomness from the volleys, but you know it's like very controlled randomness because you know what kind of shot cards you're going to get. Usually it's things that destroy enemy minions, but they'll be slightly different each time. You have to figure out, do you want to use them now, depending on the board state, or save them for later? There's a lot of different decisions to be made.
So this is like explosive shot, arcane shot,
deadly shot,
multi-shot,
yeah.
Quick shot.
quick shot. No, it's
not right now.
Standard. All right, the final Hunter card here. Deadeye. For the rest of the game, your hero power can also target minions. What do you think, Young?
Yeah, I mean, so, wow, gosh, I guess it's already like over 3 years ago now when we worked on Goblin versus Gnomes, we made a sniper, Steam Weedle sniper? Yeah, and yeah, like the artist spent actually a little good chunk of time to get that effect just right because it had the same ability, and I was like, you're going to use this once? Like, how much time did you spend on it? So I love to see it back in the game. You know, I think it creates this really cool targeting effect on your hero power.
Yeah, this is something a lot of people have requested, like the ability to shoot anything with your hero power in a little bit more solid body than the 2-3 that we had before.
I love this card. When my dad started playing Steam Weedle Sniper, his absolute favorite. So it has a special place in my heart.
So for me, of these 3, I would choose Deadeye. What do you guys think? What's your favorite here?
My favorite is Deadeye. I really want to see that effect back in the game, like in the forefront in the arena. I want people to encounter it.
I like Deadeye a lot, but I think some people are going to have a lot of fun with Volley and Reload because it just gives you more options, gives you more card draw.
Yeah, I like Reload. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty skill testing when exactly you use it, and it does something cool in Hunter. Deadeye's cool too.
All right, but it's up to you. So here's your chance. If you want Reload to go into the arena, cheer now. Okay, some fans of Reload. Okay, Volley.
Woo!
All right, Deadeye. Woo! Wow. All right, okay.
It sounds like Deadeye to me.
Yeah, Deadeye's going into the arena. Good job.
That's awesome.
All right, so here's 3 mage cards. First one is Arcane Flux. Cast a random mage spell, targets chosen randomly, draw a card.
Wow, that's crazy stuff. A lot of people really enjoyed Yogg-Saron. A lot of people told me it was their favorite card, and this supports that idea. It costs 2 mana, so it's, there's a cost, but maybe it'll be worth it. Maybe it'll be good for you. You could get a secret, could get a blizzard, a flame strike.
Pyroblast yourself in the face.
You could kill yourself.
A lot of the
cool.
mage spells are secrets too, so they don't have a target. It could be 2 mana, play a random secret, draw a card.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And blizzard and flame strike only hit enemy minions, unlike Fireball or Cone of Gold.
Okay, here's the next mage card. Polymorph, question mark, question mark, question mark. Choose a minion, discover a new minion to transform it into.
This one's pretty fun. It's pretty cool to decide whether, I need to hit my little guy, or I need to try and transform their Lich King into something small. It's a pretty interesting card to play, and then you get to make the choice as to which of these guys is best for you or least bad for you, depending on which minion you're transforming.
I mean, this was also our art director, Ben Thompson's favorite card art that we never got to get in the game. I mean, come on. It's a sheep toad. You don't want a sheep toad in the game?
It's a great name, too.
Yes,
we
I
should
love
have
the
called
way
it Polymorph Sheep Toad.
the name, the art, and the text box all come together for just a masterpiece card.
Did you design that one?
Maybe I designed it.
All right,
I didn't draw it.
Power Cosmic, discover a legendary minion.
I love this one. This one's super fun. It's like you get an arena pick, except it's a legendary arena pick, and it's in the middle of your game. It's pretty fun.
You get to kind of delay the pick to figure out what your opponent's doing and what you need at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
At the cost of a mana.
The Discover cards are great because you make decisions on the fly as you go, different decisions based on the board state. They really give you an option to show off your skill.
Yeah, I like situations where people end up playing with cards maybe that see less play, and you discover a legendary, and maybe they're perfect for this situation, but maybe not something you would have drafted into your deck, and that's really cool.
So actually, my favorite here is Arcane Flux. It seems super fun to me, but I'm curious what you guys would like to see.
Power Cosmic, for sure.
Definitely polymorph, question mark, question mark, question mark. It may be hard to say, but it'll be fun to play.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm going to have to go with Sheep Toad, so...
Sheep Toad is easier to say.
All right, BlizzCon, what do you think? Cheer if you want to see Arcane Flux in the arena. All right, disappointing. All right, cheer if you want to see Polymorph, question mark, question mark, question mark. Woo! All right, and cheer if you want to see Power Cosmic. I think I was Polymorph, question mark, question mark,
Yeah, Toad Sheep.
All right, it's going in. It's going into the arena.
Woo!
All
Good
right.
job, guys. You guys are making the right decision.
All right, let's see some Warrior cards. Now, Warrior maybe on the weaker side right now in the arena, right? So we've maybe tuned these to be good. Also, Danae, you said you would like to see Warriors get a weapon.
Yeah,
So-
weapons are really solid in arena because they can catch you up on tempo, and they can get 2-for-1s, so value and tempo at the same time. Great. So these are all going to be weapons.
Yeah,
Right.
and we're already doing kind of a balanced path for arena draft that's happening,
Right.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes. So
happening already.
we're working on arena balance already, and this is a tactic to help with that. But we're going to get it closer no matter what happens, even if you choose a horribly unbalanced card here. So is the first Training Blade, Death Rattle. Add a random weapon to your hand.
This is cool because you can bring it on the first turn, take care of the early minions. Warriors sometimes have trouble with that because their hero power doesn't do anything really in the early game. And then later on, you get a new weapon. Who knows which one, but it'll probably be a fun one to get some more value out of.
I like the story, too. The name's great. It's a training blade, so you're going to train up, and then you're going to end up with, I don't know, Doomhammer or something. Pretty cool.
All right. Here's the second card. Axe of the Eclipse. Battle Cry. Destroy all damaged minions.
That's cool.
Wow.
it's a flashy card. Yeah.
Yeah. It's King Mosh, except on a weapon.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get to kill the other non-damage minions with the 2 attacks from the weapon. So
Yeah, if you can combo this with Whirlwind or, some one damage things, you get tons of value off the battle cry and then more value out of the attacks. Seems amazing.
All right, the final warrior card here is Blazing Longsword. Also damages the minions next to whomever you attack. This card reads like consecrate your opponent 3 times to me.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that'll catch up warriors a little bit.
Yeah, and I like, we were kind of playing around with the theme of warriors having cards that kind of deal damage to a minion and to, the ones adjacent to it, and I kind of like that it continues that theme.
All right, so actually my favorite here is Blazing Longsword. What do you guys think?
Training Blade, for sure. Cool story. Seems super fun to play.
Of the cards I've seen, these are the closest for me. I really like all of them. But I think I would pick Training Blade just because early game and late game value.
Yeah, I mean, I love them all. I think Axe of the Eclipse is the most flashy. So I think it's going to feel like it has the most impact. So I pick Axe of the Eclipse.
All right, BlizzCon, it's your turn to choose. Cheer if you want to see Training Blade in the arena. All right. Cheer if you want to see Axe of the Eclipse. Those are like dead even to me, I think. Cheer if you want to see Blazing Longsword.
Yeah.
All right, wow.
Triple consecrate, it worked.
All right, Blazing Longsword is going into the arena. Is anyone writing this down? I'm going to have to watch this panel afterward to remember what we voted on.
Oh, I'll remember.
I mean, speaking of watching,
Yeah, I'll remember. It was Training Blade, right?
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
speaking of watching, for people who are watching this in virtual ticket, if you yell loud enough in your living room, it might make a difference. Might, I don't know.
We're gonna find a way to include the greater community because these BlizzCon attendees are holding everyone hostage here. So we're gonna find a way to include other people after the panel, I think.
I hope you guys all play some arena at least, or at least care about arena. Making big decisions here.
Crip is backstage in the Hearthstone area yelling, "No!" All right, here we go. Paladin cards. The first is Retribution. Secret. When an enemy attacks your hero, deal 4 damage to it.
Really good against minions, right? 1 mana, you can kill almost any minion. If someone hits you with their face, it's not quite as good because it's, maybe it doesn't kill them, maybe it does.
Yeah, then it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds great.
It's a little bit like Snipe, too. Sort of in that space, but you can kind of react to the minions they have on board, so it's sort of interesting when you choose to play it.
It's like a Vaporize that if you use it carefully, you can play around it a little bit more than Vaporize because if you attack with like a 5 health minion, it will survive.
Come off more like Hydrologist, too, which is interesting.
Here's the next card. Relic of Hope. When you draw this, transform it into a random paladin spell.
Oh, that sounds fun,
That's unidentified relic,
Yep.
basically.
right?
I-
Consecrate, Hammer of Wrath.
Yeah, I like that it kind of plays into the theme of Kobolds and Catacombs a little bit. It's like, what's in this tome? Let's find
Right,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the kind of randomness I really like, which is there's a random event, like the card draws are random, right? And you have to adapt your strategy now that you know what your situation you're in, right? And if it becomes lay on hands, maybe you could withstand some more damage early on and play a more controlling strategy. And if it's not lay on hands, it's maybe a secret, right? You know you have a different game plan to pursue, and then you can react accordingly from then on.
Totally.
Sounds fun.
So here's the last one. Hand of Salvation, secret. When your second minion dies in a turn, revive it.
I really like this card because it lets you switch things up. I think when you play against a paladin right now and they were to play some secrets, you always want to kill, always want to destroy the weakest minion first because there's a secret out there right now that would revive it with 1 health. Now with Hand of Salvation, it's like, should I do it with like the first minion or second minion? There's that kind of mind play that I really appreciate.
I like this card a lot. If I had to choose, though, I would choose Relic of Hope as my favorite of these. What do you guys think?
I love Relic of Hope. Just seems like a fun card that puts you in new situations. Paladin has some really great spells with, Blessing of Kings, Hammer of Wrath, Consecrate.
Relic of Hope's cool. I like the secrets, though. I think Hand of Salvation's super interesting to play around. I think Retribution's also pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm really into Hand of Salvation.
All right, BlizzCon, it's up to you. Let's take a vote. Who wants Retribution? Let me hear you. All right, and who wants to see Relic of Hope? Woo! All right, and who wants Hand of Salvation? Oh, okay, that was clear. That was clear. Hand of Salvation's going into the arena. Exciting.
All right.
I'm looking forward to that card. Okay, Priest. Here's the first card. Absolution. Give a minion +1/+1 and lifesteal. Pretty simple, but I think very effective.
Yeah, it's deceptively good, right? You're like, oh, it's a 1-mana spell. It just gives +1/+1, but it can make a huge difference early on, especially with lifesteal.
Yeah, if you put this on like a 4/6 or something like that, and suddenly it's a 5/7 with lifesteal, you can get a lot of life back off of that.
Having played some of the unidentified elixir that can turn into lifesteal potion,
Yeah.
pretty good, and this is pretty similar.
Yep.
All right, here's the next card. Mass Resurrection. Give your minions Death Rattle, resummon this minion.
That sounds fun. That's pretty sweet. You could get some good Death Rattle minions out there. You get a little bit ahead on board, and then you just get to win that game.
I mean, it's definitely a flashy card. I'm just one of those players where I get so greedy. I'm like, oh my god, okay, I got 2 minions. Now I got 3 minions. All right, I'm gonna wait until I have 4 minions. Oh no, I have 2 minions. I have 1 minion. I have 0 minion and a Mass Resurrection in my hand. So I'm sure it's very skill testing.
Yeah, it is in some ways a card that helps you win more, right? If you're already winning, you have a bunch of minions on the board, you need this card. It's in a lot of ways like Bloodlust, which is challenging to play, I think.
Yeah, I think it would be good if you had stealth minions, for example, something like that. Minions that are hard to kill for some reason. Maybe they have death rattles that bring them back to life or something like that. It continues on that.
All right, the third one here, Generous Spirit. Give a friendly minion to your opponent, draw 3 cards. What the heck is going on here?
What does that even mean?
I'm just feeling so generous, Ben. Here's a Doomsayer.
I love cards like this because my favorite part of Hearthstone is when players do like crazy, wacky things and somehow win with it. It's like, hey, here's a minion. I get 3 cards, and maybe that's like a terrible minion to have, and it's awesome. I love it.
Or you need like a target for Potion of Madness or Shadow Madness or something, and you can give them that target.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is a card we probably couldn't make in Constructed at this power level because you just put all the horribly abusive things into your deck to do with this. But in Arena, it's much harder to get that to go off. We can also add draw 3 cards.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like this could get really degenerate, but in the Arena, it's something we could work with.
All right. My favorite of these, actually Absolution. I really like the simple effectiveness of this card. I think it's going to be powerful. What about you?
I like Generous Spirit. I like it when I have a card that I can say something every time I play it, and saying something like, oh, here's a Bittertide Hydra. Thank you. Will make me very happy.
I'm going to go Generous Spirit because I like to have some card draw. It gives me more options once I draw those cards. And once in a while, I'll get that Doomsayer in Arena, and I'll keep trying for it until I get the combo to happen. It's a great fun.
Generous spirit all the way. I mean, especially because us doing this helps us explore cards that maybe we can't get into the standard set. So we'll love to see something like this in there.
All right, BlizzCon. Here we go. Please cheer if you want to see Absolution in the Arena. All right, now let's hear it for Mass Resurrection. How about Generous Spirit?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Generous Spirit's going into the Arena.
We have a generous crowd today.
Yeah, super generous.
All right, here are some rogue cards. The first is Assassin's Training. Give a minion Poisonous. That looks simple, but there's some combos here, I think.
I love this guy on the art here. What is he doing? Like, he looks scary.
It's assassinating. Or training, at least.
Is that a grasshopper?
Grasshopper, is that what you said? Come on.
Yeah.
Great.
So yeah, I mean, you can use this card to trade up very significantly. I mean, and Rogue can always use cheap spell. That's something they can combo with other cards.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's also really good with Wild Pyromancer.
Wow, great combo.
Really good. We would not be able to make this card a Constructed because that is insane.
Yeah, if you play this with on Wild Pyromancer, it will destroy everybody. Yeah.
Yes,
Good with
except
Knife Juggler, too.
Yeah,
Wild
Knife
Pyromancer.
Juggler.
Sweet.
okay, Smoke Bomb. Give a minion stealth until your next turn. Draw a card.
Oh, that's cool. 1 mana draw card is just pretty reasonable, especially in Rogue, where they're interested in cycling through the deck, they're interested in triggering combo.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, stealth is also some pretty cool upside.
I miss Conceal, honestly, in the Arena, and this is something you can use to keep tempo going, even when you only have 1 minion sometimes, but at the end, the draw card is significant.
Right. And another difference between this and Conceal is if your opponent has like a taunt minion and you just want to go face, which I don't mind doing once in a while, You could just give his taunt minion stealth and go in.
Yeah, actually, I did not think about that until you just told me. Wow, yeah, that's awesome.
Because stealth minions can't taunt, right? Of course.
Yeah.
The innkeeper will remind you if you didn't know.
Right.
All right, the final card, Mind Spike. Whenever you kill a minion with this, draw a card.
I really like the fantasy of this card, and you know, Rogue has a lot of you know, spells that like enhance your weapon. Maybe it gives it attack power or makes it deadly. Anything that has more than 2 durability for Rogue is something I look at. I really like this card.
Yeah, this card's great with weapon buffs. Seems really cool.
Yeah, and even if you just don't have weapon buffs and you're just doing some smart trades, you can get some activations on this and draw some cards.
My favorite here is Assassin's Training. I think it's tricky, it's fun, probably effective. What do you guys think?
I like Smoke Bomb. Smoke Bomb's simple, but good draw. You know, you can get to cycle through your deck a little bit faster, and it's good with combo stuff. It's cool.
I like Mind Spike. I think it changes the value of deadly poisons in the draft, and even by itself, I think it's got a lot of gameplay going on.
Yeah, you know, until last rehearsal, I was like a big fan of Mind Spike, but you just blew my mind by saying, yeah, you like playing Smoke Bomb and a taunt minion and getting through just seems like such a fun story. I'm gonna go with Smoke Bomb.
All right, BlizzCon, you've heard it. What's it gonna be? Let's hear it for Assassin's Training. That's right, I feel you. All right, let's hear it for Smoke Bomb. Get some real support there. All right, let's hear it for Mind Spike. I think it's Smoke Bomb.
I think it's Smoke
Yeah.
Bomb.
Smoke Bomb's going in.
Smoke Bomb now.
Exciting. All right, here we go.
There's that like one guy over there who agrees with you every time, I think.
Thanks. Thanks,
loud.
guys.
He's really loud. He's super effective.
I know. It's like
Amounts of
Ben
10
Brode's
people.
disciple.
All right, let's look at some Shaman cards. Here's the first one, Refreshing Jolt. Deal 4 damage to an enemy or restore 8 health to a friendly character.
Oh, that's cool. Death Coil, in some sense.
Yeah, I like it. Shamans are good at healing. Shamans are good at dealing damage. It does those things, feels flexible, makes some smart decisions.
Yeah, I really like cards that you can use offensively and defensively. This is really fun. Also makes me want to drink a soda now that I look at it.
Refreshing
I love the name of
soda.
this card, Refreshing Jolt.
TM.
Enjoy. All right, here's the second card, Magma Shock. Silence a minion, then deal 4 damage to it. Essentially a massive Earth Shock.
And Magma's way better than Earth. That's cool.
Right? It's got the damage from the fire. It's got the silence from the earth. The whole package.
It's pretty cool.
All right, here's the third one, Crackling Doom. Deal 12 damage to all minions, overload 10.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is going to clear the board for 0 mana. 0 mana board clear seems good.
Yeah, if anything, I've learned anything about players is that they don't see the words overload when we put it on cards.
This
No,
is great with Snow Fury
This is a
Giant.
4-mana 7/7. I stopped reading. I don't know what else is on
Yeah.
this.
Now you draft like 4 Snow Fury Giants, and you just play this on turn 1, and you know you can kind of go nuts.
It's pretty good.
That sounds great. I like Crackling Doom.
Yeah, I mean,
also has great art, too. Look at that guy.
Yeah, I like this card. It's basically saying like you're going to have the biggest turn of your life now, but you don't take a turn next turn, right?
Right, you
So
skip. Yeah, basically skip next turn. You get to
Exactly.
attack, I guess, but with what?
It's a cool
I
story.
guess you could play some minions after you play this, and then attack with those.
Like a lot of Snow Fury Giants.
And a lot of Snow Fury Giants, right. All right, so actually my favorite here is Magma Shock. I love Earth Shock, and this is going to deal with even more minions.
Crackling Doom's pretty awesome. I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah, I'm Crackling Doom for me, for sure.
I mean, Crackling Doom's just such a crazy story. Yeah.
Fine, whatever, guys.
You're wrong, Brode.
All right, well, BlizzCon will decide. Okay, so BlizzCon, cheer if you want Refreshing Jolt to go in. All right, cheer for Magma Shock. Let's hear it for Crackling Doom.
Yeah.
Holy cow, all right, Crackling Doom's going in.
That guy on the side abandoned you this time, by the way. Even he couldn't come with you.
Come on, Magma Shock. All right, Crackling Doom it is.
You're all doomed.
In a very crackling way.
All right, Druid. Here's the first card. Thorn Strike. Choose one. Deal 2 damage to a minion or 1 damage to all enemy minions.
That's cool.
It's like a tiny starfire. It's
Yeah.
so cute.
It is.
Cool.
Yeah. And still, you got to play it really carefully because you need to set up, you know, with trades and board. And yeah, I like it. Lots of decisions.
That's cool.
Yeah, choose one cards are inherently sometimes tough to play because you have to make, obviously, a decision when you play it no matter what.
Yep.
All right, here's the second card. Boon of Iloon.
Oh, I like
Add
that.
4 Moonfires to your hand.
Moonfire spam. Super fun. That's awesome.
Yeah, Peter played a druid, so we know he's really into Moonfire spam.
I mean, I always have this fantasy of like drafting a lot of plus spell power, minions, and I'm gonna do something awesome. It might actually happen for me with this card.
Yeah, Malagos Dream.
Yeah, but there you go, man.
That is dirty with Malagos. All right, I also like that the name rhymes. I'm a big fan of that. Okay, the final card, Nature's Champion. Return a friendly minion to your hand and give it +5/+5.
Oh, that's fun. That's cool.
Wow.
Get to replay some battle cries. You get to make some like trades, and you also give it +5/+5.
Right? Yeah, if it has a good battle cry. It's the kind of card you have to think about for a while to try to figure out, is that good? When is that good? What is it good with? And as you're playing, every turn you got to be like, okay, let me reevaluate. Is there a trade I can do that makes this card good?
Yeah, it's good to bounce a damaged minion or something like Novice Engineer. It's very efficient for +5/+5. That's a good rate. You just have to pay the mana for the minion again as well.
Yeah, it's also very different from other cards we printed, so it's really exciting to me in that way.
If you bounce a Doppelgangster to your hand, you get
Wow.
3 7/7s, and you're still 2 2/2s in play. Like, wow, the value.
That's pretty good.
All right, so actually my favorite's Nature's Champion on this slide. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Nature's Champion by far. That seems super fun.
Thornstag, fun. Boon of Iloon, fun to say. Nature's Champion. I think it has the most cool decisions in play.
Come on, guys. The tiny Starfire. You gotta pick the tiny Starfire. It's so cute.
All right, BlizzCon, it's up to you. Let's hear it for Thorn Strike.
Oh, come on.
That guy's got you.
Yeah, you got
You guys
it.
got your back.
Let's hear it for Boon of Iloon.
Nice.
Let's hear it for Nature's Champion. Awesome. It's
All right.
going in.
Nature's
Very
Champion.
exciting. All right, Warlock. Bottled Madness. Transform each card in your hand into a random demon.
That's awesome. That seems fun.
Wow, that is madness.
Madness.
I love cards where you look at it and you're like, I'm not really sure how that's gonna play out,
Yeah.
Like, is
A
that
lot
good?
of
Is that
demons.
bad?
You have to figure out if the cards in your hand are like good ones or like they're not useful right now, so may as well turn them into demons.
Yeah, go for it. Maybe, maybe you draft cards that puts like cards into your hand, maybe tokens. You can turn those
Sure.
into demons, yeah.
And if you happen to pick up a bunch of cards that are good with demons, but you forgot to draft the demons, pick up a Bottle of Madness.
Right?
There you go.
And then
It's
turn
on
those
sale.
all into demons.
Exactly.
All right, From Beyond. Draw 3 cards. At the end of your turn, discard them.
Oh, that's cool.
I love this card. It's like you draw 3 cards and you either play it at the end of the turn or it's gone. So you have this pressure to play them. Maybe like you have enough mana to take advantage of it, or maybe you're like, oh my god, I drew my, like that card I wanted to play, but I'm 1 shy of mana because of From Beyond. Maybe that's frustrating, but it's I like that story.
Feels
Well, that's
very,
good highs
very
and
Warlock,
lows.
yeah? Yeah, highs and lows. Something Warlock is very specialized in is having a big advantage and a big disadvantage. And yeah, I love the art too. The art is very spooky.
All right, Combust. Destroy a minion. Deal 3 damage to all other characters.
Wow. Assassinate plus Hellfire. That seems pretty good.
If I learned one thing about our players is they like to choose certain doom and jump into fiery death. So I have a feeling Combust is gonna win this one.
Combust, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I like it a lot. My favorite, though, is From Beyond.
I agree. From Beyond, absolutely.
I like Combust. I like blowing up a minion and that deals damage to everything else. Seems fun.
I agree with both of you. I love Beyond, and I love Combust. I think I'm going to choose From Beyond just because it has more gameplay.
All right, BlizzCon. Let's hear it for Bottled Madness.
Yeah.
Wow, that got a lot of
I like
support.
it.
Don't work.
That's awesome.
Don't work.
Wow, all right. Let's hear it for From Beyond. And let's hear it for Combust. Wow. What was higher?
I think From Beyond was higher. Do you want to do like
Let's do a revote. Okay, between Bottled Madness and From Beyond. Sorry, Combust voters. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Let's hear it for Bottled Madness. Let's hear it for From Beyond. That is the closest vote we've had.
Wow.
I
Ben, I think we should put them both in. I think we should put them both in. That's what they're saying, both. You know? It's madness. And it's unbottled.
Okay. All right. We're gonna ask.
Ask Twitter?
We're gonna ask.
Ask Twitter. Ask Twitter.
The guy in the hat, right here. The guy in the hat. Yeah, you.
Trump.
What do you want?
Ask Trump.
Bottled madness.
All right, the guy in the hat shows bottle madness.
All right.
It's exciting. Wow, that was intense.
Wow.
My goodness.
Unexpected.
Okay. All right. So that's not the end. There is. We're gonna do some kind of. There may be a second chance. We have to figure it out. But there may be for those who are screaming it from beyond. You may have a chance for redemption. We'll figure that out. So now. Now that we've filled the arena with some awesome new cards, we're going to take some questions from the audience. So those of you who have questions for us, please line up in one of these two spaces over here. All right, where's our first question?
We're going to take questions from both of those lines.
Yeah.
Alternating.
Where's the... Is it over here? Is that the first one? Great. Okay, right over here, please.
Hello, everyone. Hello. My first question, no, my only question, sorry, is about Morgl. When the match starts, he always says, time for a lesson, young one. And he says, even to Malfurion is more than 10,000 years old. And my question is, how old is Morgl?
Sounds like he's pretty old.
Yeah, he must be much older than that, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
10,001?
Yeah, maybe.
We'll check with the lore folks and get back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Morgl is a mysterious Murloc, so yeah, we're gonna have to look this up.
Over here.
Hi. I was just wondering if you were aware there's already a card in Magic the Gathering named Crackling Doom.
Never heard of it.
It's 1 red, 1 white, and 1 black mana. Each opponent takes 2 damage and has to sacrifice a creature with its greatest power or toughness.
Yeah,
Something like that.
so
Great
Commander
name.
17.
yeah, that sounds like a great name. I mean, you know, there are a lot of collectible games out there, and
Sure.
you know, people like the word Doom. If I learn anything about they like certain Doom, and some of them are crackling. Yeah, I think stuff like this is going to happen. We'll go check it out. Thank you for
Awesome.
that.
Thank you very much.
Mike, did you design that card?
No, I did not design Crackling. the other Crackling Doom.
That wasn't Mike's fault.
Nor did I name it.
Over here.
All right, hi, I'm Chris. I have a question about Arena. Would you consider opening packs and player pods? Meaning you would first open a pack, have a choice between the 5 cards, and then you would pass it on to the next player, and then you would have 4 choices, and then you alternate left and right. And then depending on what your deck composition is, you would then automatically be assigned whichever hero based on how it's weighted.
So that's actually how we started designing the arena. Way back, like many years ago now, we were trying to get a legitimate draft mode into Hearthstone, but we knew we wanted it to be asynchronous somehow because the experience of drafting a collectible card game takes many hours. There's like an hour of drafting, and then there's deck building, and then there's several rounds of play amongst the people in the draft. It could take up to like 4 or 5 hours sometimes. We felt like if we could figure out a way to break that down into an experience that was shorter, that would be more accessible. And so we started out actually with the idea of no pods. We had envelopes we stapled to the walls. It had different numbers of cards in them, all the way from 15 to 1. And you would open a pack, and you would take 1 card out, swap it with the 14 cards in the envelope marked 14, and now you had 14 cards that someone else had picked their favorite card from. And you take a card out of that pack and swap it with the envelope that said 13 and take those cards and go on. And this was our method of, we thought we were going to implement this as our asynchronous draft mode. And we realized that there was a couple things that we didn't like about this. One, is that you're looking at a lot of cards that eventually you just can't use because you've locked in quickly on a class. You said, okay, I'm playing Paladin. I can only choose between the Paladin cards. So there's all these classes that are useless to me. And at the beginning, every card is available to you. So you're choosing one of 15 cards, which is a much harder choice to make. But then at the end, there's only like one Paladin card in the pack anyway, so you're not really making a choice. So there was a kind of the curve of complexity of decision great for us. It was like this. And so we said, what are the most fun moments in that draft experience? And for us, it was when you had like 3 or 4 real choices. Like, okay, I could really take any of these. What is the right thing to do? And so we said, hey, what if we just show you 3 or 4 things that you could legitimately play, and we do that the number of times equal to the number of cards you want to play with. And that so we started in that actual direction, and it morphed over time into when it ended up in the arena. But I still think that there's a lot of opportunity for different ways to play Hearthstone. Some of it works better in real life when you have 4 or 5 hours to play with other players. So I think things like fireside gatherings are a real huge opportunity for us to build experiences that would be maybe more awkward in an online space, that are way more intense and time commitment wise that you could do when you have a bunch of your friends over and want to play some Hearthstone.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
God, we haven't talked about those envelopes in like 5 years.
Over here.
Hi there. So I was actually really excited to see the Lich King 1 million hit point battle that you guys did over in Gamescom. I'm curious whether or not, like, maybe not exactly the Lich King, but would we be seeing something like that in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're experimenting with a lot of different ways to do that kind of encounter where you know, multiple players across multiple games can kind of participate in, I guess, you know, if you were to kind of use WoW terminology, like what would feel like a world event, and we think that's really exciting. The Lich King one we did at Gamescom and later on in Fireside Gatherings have been really popular, and we're very excited about that. Definitely, we're going to do some, you know, more cool stuff like that in the future. Thank you for your feedback.
Right over here.
Hey,
is that Trollden?
Yeah.
What up, Trollden?
Oh, what's up?
So Team 5, I was going to ask, I really love what you're doing with Arena, but have you thought of adding temporarily cards to construct it for maybe players who don't have enough cards to play with and, you know, just spice up the metagame a little bit?
We've talked about stuff like that. I think we'll see how adding some temporary cards to Arena goes and whether people enjoy it. I'm hoping that event is really cool and really fun, and then we'll talk about where we go from there.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Congratulations on your 300th episode.
Over here.
Hey guys, I love the roguelike expansion you guys are bringing out. It's gonna be awesome. But what kind of plans? Yeah.
Young says his name when he's excited.
What plans do you have to keep adding bosses to that experience to keep it fresh?
Well, I mean, so the new dungeon run mode, in a given run, you encounter eight bosses or 8 encounters. There's actually 48 encounters that it can choose from. So I think for a very long time, you're going to encounter all these different permutations. And it turns out that some of the encounters are kind of like the rare secret encounters. So they don't spawn as often. They're like the rare spawn encounters. So I think for a very long time, players are going to have tons of fun trying out the 1.4 cobillion combinations. Yeah. That's not a number. Ways to play. And then, you know, I think we're going to learn a lot based on how players digest this content and see how quickly they go through it. You know, in terms of releasing additional bosses or more content maybe later on or mid-expansion, that's something we've thought about. And again, we'll do this, we'll learn from it, and then, you know, we'll do smart things from there.
Yeah, one of the guys on the esports team cornered me yesterday and said he's played 200 dungeon runs and he's still having a ton of fun. So it's...
That's awesome. Yeah, I played a ton of that mode already. I was playing it to play test it, and I was like way past work was done, and I was still playing it. And I'm like, am I really play testing? Or I'm just playing this for fun now.
Can't wait. Cheers.
Cool.
Right over here.
All right. I was wondering what you can tell me about the new Druid hero, and have you considered Hamel Rune Totem?
What can we say? Yes, we have considered Hamul Rune Totem. I think actually some of the most fun I have when we're talking about new heroes is, can we bring a different flavor to a class than exists currently? I think Nemzi, one of the cool things about Nemzi is she's really different than Gul'dan. And I actually think maybe Maiev and Valir are a little too similar as far as what they bring to the rogue experience. So I'd like to, if we're going to do cosmetic heroes for classes, I'd like to think about what kind of flavor you already get with the heroes that you can play as, and how can we change that up a little bit. So I can say that we're working on at least one druid hero, but we have no plans to announce, nor I think have we fully figured out how we're going to get it out to people.
I love how Brode keeps looking at me.
Looking at Young because he's responsible.
I think a fair thing we can totally say here is, yes, we totally recognize that Druid is the last class that doesn't have an alternate skin, alternate new hero. We definitely want to do something about that. So.
Would you say next?
We're working on it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys. With the number of card backs that are on there's like almost 80 now. Is there a chance that maybe you can randomize it each game, or every single card is different, or something like that?
That sounds fun. I'd use that.
Yeah,
Young?
Yeah, no, we've been talking about that for a while.
Yeah.
We should just do that.
So we painted the graphic that will be the thing that you will select to have a random card back, and now we have to hook it up. So we're.
Yes.
Yeah, we should just get that one done.
We have to.
All right.
All right.
We think it'll be awesome. We'll do it.
Great
We'll do it.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Okay.
Right over here.
Hello, my name is EY from South Korea.
Oh, hello. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
네.
I'm the biggest fan of Banbrod and also Hearthstone.
And Young.
By the way, my
Banbrod.
English is not my first language. Excuse me for that. I want to ask you about this card.
What is that?
That Ultimate Infestation?
Oh. Wait, what card
It is
that?
Ultimate Infestation.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay,
I could have
great.
guessed that without looking.
I mean, after nerfing the Innervate, this card, you guys think that it's not powerful as previous game, but still facing this card is so unpleasant. It is. How do you think about it?
It's a great card. It has a really big impact on the game. It's Firelands Portal plus a bunch more. So we're obviously gonna keep an eye on it to see if it's good. We do have a big expansion coming out in a month, which I think is gonna change some things up. Even before that expansion, though, this isn't one of our top cards. It's not in one of our top decks. But even if a card isn't the most winningest card, the feeling you get is really important. Oftentimes when someone loses to a card, they're like, oh, what was the big card in their deck that lost me the game, right? Maybe they lost on lots of other cards. Maybe, Wild Growth is why they really lost, but it feels like Ultimate Infestation is how you lost because it did the most visual effect. So yeah, we're watching Druid and we're watching that, but right now it's not, statistically a big card. It's more of an emotional big card.
Thank you. And one more thing. Add the Nemzi, the new warlock hero, to South Korea, please. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Will do.
Thank you. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Over here.
Hi. I was just wondering, with the change to the 3 expansions a year, and with the last 3 expansions having 2 legendaries per class, so there's more legendaries than the previous expansions, what are you guys doing to reduce the cost of Hearthstone?
Yeah.
Good. Please go ahead.
No, there's a couple of things we're doing to make Hearthstone more accessible. So I first wanted to mention that we really do like the 2 legendary paradigm. It lets us make 2 different legendaries in a class. Often they can play up different themes within that class, or they can be meaningfully different, things like a legendary minion and a legendary weapon. And that lets us make each of the classes have some more unique things going on and gives more opportunities for deck building and for creativity. So that part's been awesome. But we're doing a number of things to help with accessibility for Hearthstone. We've got it so that now if you have a legendary, you won't get duplicates of it. That's been in since Knights of the Frozen Throne. For Kobolds and Catacombs, we're giving away 2 legendaries, Marin the Fox, as well as a random legendary weapon when you start up the game, come Kobolds and Catacombs. So there's a number of other things that we've done that we're kind of working towards, but I'm pretty excited with some of the opportunities for getting some extra legendaries.
One of the other things that we did is when we added 2 legendaries per class, we pulled 7 legendaries out of neutral. So we went from like 12 legendaries in neutral to 5 legendaries in neutral. It wasn't just here's 9 more legendaries.
All right, cool.
Thanks for the feedback.
Thank you.
We're here.
Hi. So my question is about the new expansion you just announced yesterday. It seems like you guys are giving a legendary weapon to every class as part of a big part of the new set. But there is existing card that hard counter weapon type, like the Ooze and the Harrison Jones. So if a player build a new deck around like the new weapons, and you just got countered by like the tech decks against the weapons, that's just gonna ruin their entire game plan. So really the question is, when you design the legendary weapons, do you guys leaning towards more like pure value of the weapon, or rather than you have to build a deck around a legendary weapon?
A little bit of both. So some of the legendary weapons are very good against things like Ooze and Harrison Jones.
I might be from Boston.
Cards like Alaneth, you've already gotten a fair amount of value if you draw 3 cards and then they ooze it. That's actually not so bad for you.
Yep.
One of the things that we like as well is that there's kind of an ebb and flow. So if there's a lot of people playing decks that are weapon heavy, that are legendary weapon heavy, then you can put Harrison and Ooze in your deck. And now if everybody's playing Ooze and Harrison, you don't play the decks that play the legendary weapons. And so the metagame can evolve naturally on its own, and that's very healthy for us.
Yep, I think you'll see, as you see more legendary weapons, not just Alaneth, where you've already drawn 3 cards, but some have Death Rattles or Battle Cries or something like that.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you. Over here.
So you guys made recent balance changes to cards like Innervate, Hex, and a couple other cards in this recent pass. I'm just wondering if you can speak to, from like a designer's perspective, what sort of things you're looking at before you make changes like that?
Sorry, I couldn't hear. Could you repeat it?
What do we look at when we make balance changes to cards? What are the types of things we consider before we make changes to cards?
Like when we
Specifically
change
for the last
survey,
set as well.
Right. We look at a lot of things. One of the things we look at is how people feel. You know, I've talked about this a few times. If people are upset about something, usually it's because it kills them in one turn, or because they don't have any counterplay to it, and they can feel bad, even if a deck doesn't have like a very high win rate. Also, we look at win rate. Sometimes a deck is just way above the other decks. And right now, we're really fortunate because a lot of the decks are kind of even on win rate, and there's a whole bunch of decks, stacked up of different classes together. So we've been really happy for the last little while. So we look at win rate, we look at the variety of classes being played, how much a deck is being played. Sometimes a deck will get played a whole bunch, like 20 or 30% of the meta, maybe more, even if it isn't the best deck, and that matters. Another thing we look at is different ranks. One of these might be a problem at low rank and not a problem at high rank. We consider both, right? We want to have a good tournament format. We want to have a good casual format. We want to make sure that everybody's having a good time. The most important thing that sort of all these add up to is, are people having fun playing Hearthstone? If people aren't having fun playing Hearthstone, we need to make a change, and that's when we step in.
I think there's one other important consideration, which is when we nerf cards that are specifically in the basic and classic sets, because one of the things that's really important about Hearthstone is that it changes and that you're having new experiences over time. And the standard format is trying to do that. It's trying to create a format that will naturally change as new sets are released and then rotate out of the standard format. And I think it's really important actually to have basic and classic sets, to have a grounding in that classic Warcraft fantasy always there, to have something to always be like a recognizable about the game. But I think the power level right now is too high on those sets. And so when we launched the standard rotation, when we nerfed 12 cards, we've had the Hall of Fame rotation for classic cards that we did last year. We might do another one of those next standard year. But the basic cards are in a little bit of a different category, or sometimes there's a card we actually still want to be in the standard format, but it's doing something else weird to the format for us. And those are other cases where we might nerf something that actually power level-wise is fine. Or we just want to adjust the gameplay for this meta, but there's some other benefit to us to create a standard format that we don't have to adjust as actively, that will adjust naturally as sets rotate in and out of it.
Yeah, occasionally cards will just, as we're designing new cards, we'll keep hitting up against these one type of card, and we'll have to nerf a card, even though it's not yet a problem. It's just hurt our design space too many times in a row.
Thank you.
Hey, my name is Elijah from Montana, and I was going to ask if you, not if you, but what's your favorite card that never actually made it into the game?
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I'm going to tell you, these guys are probably going to be mad, but I'm going to tell you what it is.
All right.
Take it easy, okay?
Tackle it? What do I do?
call it Titan script.
Oh, God. No, go on. If you say that card, I'm going to talk about it. I'll do it myself.
I can't tell you what it does, though. But think about it.
No, I mean, there are a lot of times designers come up with cards that are so cool, but then, if you actually get down to the details of how it would play out, it gets insanely complicated, not only to build, but to just work through.
Titan's Grip is Peter's Patches the Pirate. He's trying to get into every set.
For like 3 years, yeah. Someday it's gonna happen.
For me,
I love the card. So
for me,
it's got my support.
For me, I put this in every set, and Peter or Danae or somebody else does it. It's a pre-spell, costs 1 mana, and it says, destroy a 4-attack minion. It's like my ultimate fantasy as a priest. All right. That's a great question. Thank you very much. Over here.
Do you get anything for completing the dungeon run in the new update?
Oh, yeah. So, we want players to enjoy the dungeon run mode because it's fun. We really don't want to get into a situation where, hey, I'm not as interested in maybe personally playing the single-player mode, but now I have to because there's, this carrot behind it. With that said, playing the dungeon run mode, defeating a whole run, defeating all 8 encounters will be very challenging. And if you do that with all 9 classes, we want you to be able to kind of show that off as something you have achieved. So if you defeat the dungeon run with all 9 classes, you will get a special card back. And it's really super cool. And if you were to earn that, you can use it with a lot of pride.
It looks like a candle, right?
I know.
You get to
so
take
cool.
candle at the end.
Kind of like lantern focus.
Yeah, and then when you implemented that thing where when you bring up the preview for the card back, it kind of wiggles a little bit, and now you can really see that it's a candle. Yeah, I love that.
I think of it as the Kobold King's little lantern that he's on his head.
Yep.
You beat him and you take it and you use it as a card back.
There must always be a Kobold King.
Right.
All right, over here.
Hi. Is there one day where you'll add a replay function? Like save the game you just played?
I think the answer is yes, basically, but I don't know what the day is because it's exciting. I think we're just going to be improving Hearthstone essentially forever, and it's a matter of prioritizing which things make the highest impact. And so I think that feature's awesome though, and we should be looking at it at some point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. I was wondering if we're ever going to have a 4-player free-for-all or a 2v2 mode in Hearthstone.
Oh, man.
Man, that sounds cool.
That sounds cool. We've done a lot of different tavern brawls that sort of, 2 people cooperate to kill a boss or something like that. Recently, we did one where it's kind of a 3v3 because you play a hero, and then when he dies, you can hand it over to Peter, and then he plays until he dies, and he hands it over to Ben, and he plays until he wins and defeats the other 3 guys. So that's a really cool format, and that's being used in Fireside Gatherings already. So
Yeah,
a lot of different interpretations of that.
No, totally. In fact, if you were to go to a Fireside Gathering, like a regular Fireside Gathering, we're doing a special one here at BlizzCon, but if you go to a regular Fireside Gathering out there, the special Fireside Brawl right now is 3v3.
Oh, cool.
So totally check it out. It's super fun. It kind of gives you that kind of multi-headed player feel. Now, can we bring it to the next level? We fantasize about that. So yeah, we're with you.
Cool, thank you.
Hey, I'm Satiros. I am wondering your thoughts on the kind of high roll draw dependent cards. The cards like Barnes, Keliseth, Raza, and Anduin, and how you feel about them in Tier 1 decks and those kind of cards for the future.
Yeah, so we like a mix. Like we want some cards that, have a high variance and have exciting moments. We want some cards that, are very stable, reactionary, like, just the like 4/5s of the set. I think it's good to have both. I think people really enjoy the games where they high roll and they get the big moments. But if you have too much of it, then it doesn't feel like you're making a lot of decisions. I think as it turns out, a lot of decks have a lot of decisions to make, and that's why we still have the best players at the top. But I think a good mix will make it most fun for most people.
Thanks.
I think we're closing in on our last question or two here, so let's go over here.
Okay, so my question is for Arena, and it's mostly due, if you could create like a tracker for your past classes that you played with your win-loss ratio, like have like the past 10 games that you played in Arena, like your last run was Mage and you went 7-3. Before that, Warrior 12-1. Before that, Druid 3-3. Type of thing. Not the whole, all your cards, just your class and your win-loss ratio type of thing for like a tracking purposes.
We've been looking at doing more stats. I think a lot of players have been requesting more stats from us. One of the things we've done recently is starting to build some of that infrastructure so that we can do some of that stuff. We started sending out emails to players with their, I think, most interesting statistics and some of their histories. I think there's a lot of room to improve and do more of that. I'd like to see some of that live on our website and have some kind of profile-like feature, but that's something we're still in discussions on.
Awesome.
Thank you. I think we have time for one more.
Hello, my name is Augusto. I'm from Brazil. My question is, discard and lock mechanics, like game lock mechanics, were banned at the beginning of Hearthstone. We never saw any card like that. But recently we saw Dirty Rat, Gnome Ferrato, Skulking Geese. Why the change of heart? Do you think the community is more mature to handle the deceptions of these cards?
It's more a sort of a natural evolution that as we go on, we just explore more and more design space. I don't think our core philosophy has changed. We want Hearthstone to be fun and friendly and approachable, but at the same time, there's lots of ways to do that. There's lots of different types of cards that appeal to different types of players. Lotheb was pretty early on, and he interacts with your opponent in a way that's pretty disruptive. But I think it's fun to explore all of the different types of things. Unstable Portal ushered in sort of, this is a new type of thing that we can do. Even something like hero cards, that we saw the Death Knight hero cards. That's a cool, totally new mechanic. So every time we do a set, we do cool new mechanics, and they're going to fit into different spaces. So I think the space of this messes with my opponent, this disrupts them, is pretty cool. That's a pretty interesting thing to explore as long as we do it carefully.
Yeah. Even in Classic, we had a little tiny bit of that. We had a creature that said, minions cost 1 more mana, right? And it's just not too powerful, but interesting, and didn't see a lot of play. But since then, we've sort of kept trying different things, experiments, maybe just 1%, explore that space, make sure we do as much, just do the right amount.
And just the right amount, it turns out, is destroy your opponent's deck, because we're going to do that.
Yeah, Rin, the first disciple.
But like that's a good example, right? Where if we made a card that's like 10 mana, destroy your opponent's deck, you'd be like, it's very like rage-inducing, right? Like you don't see it coming, you're just sitting there, and then suddenly your deck is destroyed.
We did Young. That's in the set.
No, but what I like about something like Rin is like Rin comes out, you're like, oh my god, he's about to get this thing going, and then Rin dies, and then he's playing the first seal, and he's playing the second seal, and like you get that sense of like impending doom, and you're trying to do things to stop him and maybe destroy him or disrupt them in some way, and that's interesting. So I think that's the kind of balance. Like you want to be able to have that kind of disruption available to some players who enjoy that, but then on the receiving end, we still want Hearthstone to be this welcoming, fun place.
Yeah, you just need that time to mentally prepare yourself to not have any more deck.
Yeah.
All right, BlizzCon, thank you for helping us choose cards to enter the arena. Thank you very much for asking your questions. Thank you.